Some people sell products, others build movies. Today on the Herfador Lounge, I'm chopping it up with Frederick Brown, the mind behind SARELIX, a cigar accessory brand rooted in culture and style, elevated by hustle and powered by purpose. Today, we're talking entrepreneurship, community, legacy, and what it really takes to bet on yourself in the cigar game. So light up, lock in, and let's get into a conversation that's all smoke, no mirrors. What's going on, Frederick?
What's going on, Playboy?
Fred.
You know, normally only my mother and my grandmother call me Freddie, but you're a special. I'm allowing you that privilege.
What's going on, man? What's going on?
Everything is good, man. Just life is good, man. You know, New York is going crazy, man, and you know what I mean? The summer's happening, man. My kids is nearly out of school.
Ooh.
So I'm gonna get to save some money on their tuitions and you know, about to just enjoy this summer, man, and just enjoy life. You know what I mean?
I know. That sounds great, man. First of all, I appreciate you accepting my invitation. I appreciate you coming to join me in the Herfador Lounge, man.
Well, I need to thank you because you know, we've talked before, man. I'm a big fan. I've been, you know, watching you, man, like grow for a long time. I'm a humongous fan. Like you know, you guys are one of the best podcasts on cigars, just lifestyle out there, and I'm a big fan. So you know, if I know I'm a fan, I know you got thousands upon thousands of fans out there. So I appreciate the you know, the honor of, you know, hitting me up. I was actually surprised, but I wasn't surprised, but I'm glad.
Man, I appreciate that. I appreciate that, man. So, you know, I just kind of want to go back a little bit, man. So do you remember your first cigar?
My first cigar was in 2009. So at the time, I was a real estate agent. And so I live in Brooklyn. So I'm sure if you know, people out there don't really know how New York works, you have, say, New York City. Out of New York City, you have what's considered boroughs, which are different, you know, areas: Brooklyn, Queens, Staten Island, the Bronx, etc. So I was in Harlem, which is a part of New York City. I was doing apartments, and a friend of mine, she was having a networking event in Harlem. So she said, you know, come on by, and it was called the Harlem Renaissance. So I went, and all I saw was black folks. And, you know, most people, they think of cigars, initially, you think of, you know, older white man that's popping a cigar after, you know, one of these $1 million deals or,
Right,
you know,
right.
things like that. And I saw all just beautiful black people there. And I was a little surprised. And then, you know, talking and everything, they asked me what I liked. And I was like, I had no idea. I said, listen, you just pick. But I remember my first was of my father.
Oh, you started off good.
Yeah. So he cut it, you know, lit it for me. He was just puff. And, you know, old habits, I inhale. And so, you know what I mean? So it was at that moment, like there was like 20, 25 people there. And I'm coughing, I'm trying to hold it in, I'm trying to be professional, I'm trying to, you know, maintain some type of humility. You know, I'm crying, you know, I'm coughing, and, you know, everybody gave me like a standing ovation. So it was at that moment I lost my cigar virginity. So, you know, they like, you know, welcome to the family. So I was like,
yeah.
So, but I knew better. I knew better after that. So, but yeah, it was and I enjoyed it. And being that I worked mostly in Harlem, I would go there. It became like a once a week thing to more or less every other day. Like there would be times when I didn't have an apartment to show, and I would just tell my wife, I got to show an apartment today. And just you know, just to go and enjoy. And it became where, you know, I went from, say, 1 cigar to 3 cigars at a time. And I just it's you know, I mean, it's just a place where you go, you got any problems, the minute you walk in that door, all problems go out the window. You take that first puff, you're not even thinking about nothing. The world,
relaxing.
When you walk out, that's when you resume. But at that moment, man, all problems is just, everything is just beautiful. You know what I mean?
We'll get back to the interview in just a second. I just want to take a quick moment to tell you about the HerfadorLounge.com, the official home of everything we're building here at the Herfador Lounge. Whether you're a cigar lover or an entrepreneur on the rise or someone who just vibes with real unfiltered conversation, this is where community meets culture. So head over to the HerfadorLounge.com and grab some exclusive merch like this Is Therapy shirt that I'm wearing right now. It's the best way to support the channel. Don't just watch the movement, become part of it. That's the HerfadorLounge.com, where the smoke is rich and the conversation runs deep. Most definitely, man. Most definitely, man. So what was the moment that you decided I'm going to get into business? I'm going to get into this business, the cigar accessory business.
I think it was during the pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
So normally my thing was, when I first started learning about other cigar lounges other than in Harlem, like at the time we had a few. The only one I knew at the time, say in Brooklyn, after that was Davidoff's, where I'm at now, and there was one called Diamante's, and it was owned by David Diamante. He's a ring announcer. He's a boxing ring announcer. If you ever seen tall white dude with dreads.
Yeah. Okay.
Cool.
Yeah.
One of the coolest dudes you'll ever meet. He had a cigar lounge, and people would go there. And I think after that, there was the pandemic. So for me, during the summertime, if I wasn't going to a cigar lounge, I would just sit on my stoop. And during that time, I was working, and I was worried about losing my job because nobody knew what was going to happen, and I'm working from home. I'm stressed out. Instead of working a normal 8-9 hours, I was working like 16, 17-hour days because I worked at the time. I worked at a bank. I did investigations, and it was more or less. I was worried about what I'm going to do, and I was like, okay, so I got to find something, second hustle, because real estate was just out of the question at the time.
Right.
And I was on Instagram, and I was just looking like, what am I going to do? Because I'm also a real estate investor, so I had some properties, but that was becoming a problem because there was an issue with not paying mortgage. Tenants not having to pay mortgage and things like that. So I was like, okay, so I got to be concerned that these dudes ain't going to be paying me. So I was like, what am I going to do?
Mm-hmm.
And I had seen this young lady on Instagram, and she always walked with a cup of coffee.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a thing like, she would have this thing like, what's your purpose in life? What do you want to do? Like, what's your passion? And it just always caught my eye. I'm like, And I just said one time, I hit her up. I said, what do you do? She was like, I'm a consultant, whatever. I'm a business consultant. I help people. And I said, all right. I said, listen, I'd like to talk to you. What's your course? So she told me. So I hit her up for an hour. I paid for an hour time. We were just talking, and then it got to. I was like, I need to talk more, because she was just putting things in my head, like, instead of, I always knew, don't chase the money, because when you chase the money and it don't work, especially if it's not genuine, you're going to lose interest. You're going to be like, wait, I wasted my time. And she was asking me about the cigar about cigars. I broke it down to her, and I say like a 2-hour conversation went 6 hours, literally, an extra 4 hours.
Wow.
And I had no problem paying it, because I was like, listen, and it just became a really good one. And she was like, what do you like? What do you do when you go to a cigar lounge? I said, I bring my case, I bring my cigars. I said, the etiquette. I said, you go to a cigar lounge, you buy the cigar first before you sit down.
Right.
You buy that cigar, 1 or 2, minimum, generally 2. And she's like, well, how do you have it? I said, I get a case. She's like, can I see it? She said, where'd you get it from? I said, I got it. I forgot where I got it. I was like, Amazon, whatever. And she was like, you seem like you have really good taste. Why don't you sell your own cases? And I was just like this. Like, they say the light bulb goes off.
Right.
The light bulb went off. Like it was the sun, And she was like, you should look into, you seem like you have a really good taste about yourself. And why don't you look for stuff that nobody else has? And I was just like this. Okay. She said, because if you have the same thing Amazon has, why would they go to you? Because when they can go to Amazon, because you're gonna have to you're gonna have to uptick your prices.
Right.
And I was like, okay. So I just, I said, give me a month. I said, yo, give me a month, we're gonna talk. And I'd never been so focused on something. And I would be like, from when my job was over, I would just look online. I would look for, foreign, domestic cigar case companies, looking at them or whatever. And I found one company in the US, and they have some really nice stuff. And I said, you know what? Okay, let me start. And I started my business. I got my LLC. I got all my stuff just in case. And I first started in November of 2022.
Mm-hmm.
And we had, because I'd taken some time aside. I had put some time aside because I had found another job. So
Right.
I kind of put that to the side. But then when I started resuming it, I was like, okay, this works. And I got my first sale 2 days after I launched. I got my website fixed, and it took me 2 days to post. I got my first sale. Once I got my first sale, I was like, okay, I know what I'm doing.
That's the moment. It's on. It's on now.
Yeah.
Let's go.
And I just was fine. I had 2 cases. I had some lighters. I had some, cutters, pokers, and it was working. Things were working. And then I think at that time you could go back to the cigar lounges. So then I would go to the cigar lounges and I would post my stuff, showing me at different cigar lounges. That I got to meet more people and things like that. And then, people started knowing who I am around 2023.
Mm-hmm.
And then I found I had worked with a few companies that, I tried the foreign thing, but a few of them were like not working, like Alibaba. I'm gonna keep it real. I did Alibaba, but at a certain point, man, I would say, hey, listen, expect a 2-week delivery.
Right.
Some of my things was like 3 weeks, a month. Some of them they didn't get. So, at a certain point, you got to give your money back. I feel like customer service is the best thing, even if it means you got to take a loss. Having a good name is easier to keep than reversing a bad name.
Yeah.
Once you get a bad name, you're gonna have people that are not, I would say, envious or kind of wishing your downfall. Will feel on that.
Right.
No problem. I'll give you your money back. I'll send you your money back. And I had it where sometimes I gave them the money back and they got the product the next day. And I said, keep it. I hope you like. If something comes up again, I'll give you a 50% discount. And I've done that to this day. Over the last 2 years, I've been working with this company in Italy, and they've been amazing. And that's part of one of my chases. This is the logo. This is the original logo. So what I did was I had the case where I put my logo on it, but I would also have it where I would have companies that wanted to put their logos on as well. So this being the logo, it rolls. This 100% leather. They show me the picture of the cow that they got it from.
They showed you Bessie.
Rest in peace, Chester. You know what I mean? This whole tree. It comes in with a mahogany, with a cedar casing to keep everything clear.
That's nice.
Lighter, cutter, lighter. I have a container where you can put your credit card, you put your cash. Here I put my pen and my poker in. And this it's done well, thank God. Knock on wood. And like I said, I make sure I keep.
Now hold up, man, because mine don't got all that.
That you have the aficionado.
Just the aficionado. Okay. Yeah, I got it's nice.
Thank you, brother.
It's nice.
Thank you.
Real nice.
Yes, that holds 4. But like I said, I got you. I got you, man.
Got my cutters in there. Got my lighter. Got my little cigar stand. But you know what I really like, man, about this case?
Yes. And here we go. I'm glad you said that because I have the Artisan Deluxe. Right here, I have the Artisan Deluxe.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. That handle. That handle is amazing. Gotta have a handle.
This one holds 4. So if you see, it holds 4. See the casing comes in. Lighter, cutter, lighter. I have here with my poker, my pen, and I got you, brother. I got you. I'm gonna be on the lookout for you, man.
I appreciate it. So while we talking about these cases, man, so the name of the company is SARELIX.
So
names SARELIX Cigar Accessories LLC.
Yes.
So every brand name, most brand names carry a story. So what's the origin behind SARELIX?
Well, SARELIX is a combination of my wife and my name.
Okay.
My wife, Sarah, has always been behind me. She actually helped me with my first, with the first investment. She, at the time, she didn't have to, but she was like, listen, she gave me some money. I was able to buy some of my products in bulk so that I would be able to send them off a little faster just to get things going. And I just thought, listen, unless she trades me in for somebody else, I'm gonna be we're gonna be together for a while, so I might as well, honor her.
Might as well. I mean, you got to. It's only right.
Yeah. So, I'm not a great cook, so she keeps things, she keeps the belly.
You gotta eat.
So I'm not gonna, not too many people can put up with me, so she's a keeper,
Yeah, man. Yeah.
So, it was just for her, and I appreciate everything she's done, been there for me, and even when times was rough, and there's a few times I people always ask me, like, yo, you must be doing really good. I said I'm blessed, but it's not uncommon for me. I've had times when I've gone a month, 2 months with no sales, and it is what it is. I fully understand. Like, my business is a want; it's not a need.
Right.
You need food. You need electric. You don't need a cigar case. And I understand that, I've had people say, well, I can get something that's nice, but I can get something on Amazon much cheaper. I understand.
So that means this niche isn't for you.
Yeah, I respect that.
When you graduate, then come on back to SARELIX.
I ain't going nowhere. I let them know I ain't going nowhere. If you change your mind, most appreciated. And so I more or less look for those that have been there. I appreciate everyone. And like I said, part of my customer services, I keep in touch with all my clients. Every now and then for the holidays, Mother's Day, Father's Day, I send all my clients, a discount code, things of that nature. Like, like if I have a client that it's been a year since they purchased, I'll send them something. I'll send them like a lighter. I'll send them a discount code. So I'm like, just let them know, hey, listen, even if you don't buy nothing, send it to somebody that you might want it. And I always say, like, great customer service is the difference between the life and death of any business.
Yeah. That's something that leads into the hustle that I see in you, man. I see at pop-ups and lounges all over the place. So what was that influence on your hustle to make you go so hard?
I love what I do. And I say to people, like, if you love what you do, it's not a job. And that's not a cliche. It's actually the truth. If you love what you do, it's not a cliche. It's not, because last week, in Brooklyn, we have an annual event on Memorial Day called BAM, the BAM Dance Africa Festival. It's a street festival. I didn't pay for it. So what I did was I posted my tent on the outside of it, but I got some good, I still got a few clients. I got some, had to work around some things.
The work around. It's all right.
I loved it. You know what I mean? My oldest son came with me. He helped me out, and you just enjoy, because I always assume, like, when I post, I always post with the thought that not everybody knows me, and that somebody who never heard of me was gonna, for the first time, see my stuff. And
Yeah.
even if they don't buy at that moment, when they think of getting a cigar case or any accessory, they're gonna be like, "Yo, that dude that was on Instagram. Let me check his stuff out again." And
That
that's how
dude
I
that was
do it.
sitting back there in the suit with his legs crossed and puffing their cigar. Let me go and see what he got.
Yeah, I got to do what I got to do, man. And like I said, just it's a beautiful thing because I get people that hit me up on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok and such, and say, "Yo, man, I just saw your stuff. Can you tell me more about it?" And I engage, man. I don't know if you know this, but I'm a talker. I like to talk, and people, I feel the best way to engage in somebody is say, "Listen, I'm just like you. I love cigars just as much as anybody. And,
Yeah.
there's a few things I love to talk about. That's real estate and cigars and sports. And
Yeah.
I could do it all day. You know what I mean?
All day long. And that's one of the things about cigars, man. They're great conversation starters.
Yes.
Pieces like this are great conversation starters where you walk in, where'd you get that from? Oh, well, let me tell you. Let me tell you. And you have no idea who you might be talking to when you're sitting there talking. So when you get into business, man, there sometimes you know things, sometimes you don't. When you get into certain industries and things like that. So, what was one early mistake or doubt in your journey that turned it to be like a hidden gift?
I think I was trying to, at one point, I was trying to do too much. Like, I was trying to be, I would do where I was trying to go to a cigar lounge like every day.
Mm-hmm.
And I got to a point where I realized that when things were slow, I was like, I can't do this because I'm burning money. I'm not making money. So like my thought is, and I've come with the thought that if I go to a cigar lounge, I need to try to sell one product to make up for it,
Right.
to cover costs. If I don't, it's understandable. So what I do is, one of the things that I do is I try to do like, if I go like I'm here at Davidoff, I'm going to try and do 2 to 3 days of content, be it pictures, be it videos, so that I can spread out, so that I can take 2 to 3 days off, and I could post something from say 3 days ago, and you would think, that I was at a cigar lounge every day. So the secret's out.
Right.
I don't go to a cigar lounge every day, but but this is something for other business owners or people that's in any cigar related business. You don't have to, burn $300 in a week. Do as much content as you can, spread it out if you can, and do it like that, because you're going to save yourself time. You're going to save yourself money.
Yeah. So when you first started, man, from when you first started, what was something that you thought that mattered a lot that turned out to not matter at all?
People's opinions matter, but in some cases, not so much a thing. Like I can respect if you don't agree with me, but if you're saying something from a point of not more or less maliciousness, or with a good intent, I can respect. I don't take too much, because
Yeah.
I get out of, let's say, 20. If I get 20 responses in a day, I might get 4 to 5 that aren't complimentary. Like, your stuff is, you should lower your prices, or you should, I see stuff much better than yours. Initially, I would respond to it, not in a disrespectful way, but I would say, what is it that you don't like? I've learned that you can't please everybody.
Yeah.
And in some cases, you got to more or less just worry about the people that support you, because not everybody's gonna. I'm not everybody's flavor. I accepted that a long time ago.
Yeah.
But I know that I'm doing something right when I get, I'll get an order for somebody in Idaho. Idaho. I got one from a pastor, literally in Idaho, and he was like, "I don't. Can you send me? Can you do a logo of the cross?" And I was like, I said, "By God, I can." No offense. And he was like, "Okay." you know, and and he told me, I said, he's like, "I really like your stuff. I came across your stuff on TikTok. He said one of my parishioners smoke cigars, and I can't. He said I don't really do it so openly, but when I saw your website, I saw your Instagram, I felt a really good connection, and I saw your product, and that to me is very important. That's one thing I would like to say is, I believe that my products are high quality. That's one thing I know is that my products are high quality. So if you tell me my stuff looks cheap or whatever, you don't know what you're talking about, and I won't dignify a discussion with you.
Yeah, if somebody says that a SARELIX product look cheap, then you ain't seen them in person. You need to go and look at them before you make that assumption. But that thing that you said, that connection, that's really important in business, because a lot of times people don't buy from you. They don't buy from the business, they buy from you. And if
Yes.
people don't have a connection to the business, then they're not gonna be so inclined to spend their money. They might,
Exactly.
but they're not gonna pass the word on. They're not gonna come back and be a repeat customer.
I tell people all the time, you are the product.
Yeah,
Whether you want to believe it or not, you are the product.
definitely.
And it's the way you show yourself, because I'm a total stranger. You might never see me again. But if you feel comfortable that sending me 200, 250 of your hard-earned money, then there's got to be some trust there beyond
Gotta
anything.
be. Yeah.
And I'm not going anywhere. So I'm a person. I'm not some bot. I'm not, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not somebody that's trying to get over on you. I think just showing that you kind of can see, and I'm not one of these hobby smokers. Like, this is my life. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I generally smoke three times a week, and now that the weather's warmer, I'm back to 7 days a week, because
Yeah, because I know you can't be out there in them New York winters trying to get you a puff in.
Yeah, I let people know, man. Like, listen, this is an expensive lifestyle, and it's not.
Yeah.
If you think it's a hobby, because a lot of times you get caught up in it and you love it, but it's expensive.
Yeah.
And you're like, should I buy these two $16 cigars? Or do I got to get bread and mustard? You know what I mean? You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
I'm going, it weeds you out very quickly.
Very quickly. It definitely does. It definitely does, man. So all businesses, like in the beginning, they basically have to self-fund, unless you just got a bunch of money,
Yeah.
or a bunch of investors. So thinking back to the very beginning of SARELIX, man, what were some of the sacrifices that you had to make in pursuit of building this company?
I had I think I self-funded maybe toward the beginning, and after that things started rolling, and I was all right. So I've had a few times when I had to come out of pocket, but it was very minimal during the summertime. Like now, I what I'll do is I'll purchase a lot now, because I do a lot of pop-ups. I'm starting to do pop-ups again.
Yeah.
So I have where they're mostly for display, and I generally have, like, at home now, I have about 15 that I purchased a few weeks ago. So they're ready to go. And what I normally do is I have my own cigars on display
Mm-hmm.
at the pop-ups. So they see, okay, I like this one, I like that one, so they could touch it, because I'd rather not pull out the ones that I'm going to sell.
Right.
And I'll say, I'll let them know. So what I do, normal for me is I'll have my stuff on the table. I normally bring my laptop with my website, so you can look at my stuff and you can see what I have. You can see, and you can say, oh, okay, because now I have, which I haven't added to the website, but I have green, red, and gray. And when people see it, they'll say, oh, okay, hey, let me get that. So what I do is I'll have my laptop with me. I'll say, listen, if you want to order now, you can order on my laptop. So instead of saying, oh, wait till I get home, I'm like, no, you can do it now. Here you go.
Right now. Go on do it. Right. We here. Go on do it right now.
Because I don't want you being like, well, when I come from, going to see Mission Impossible or Sinners, and then make that money, let me get you first now.
Yeah, let me get you now, and then you don't get the popcorn later. So don't go get the popcorn. Go on and get this cigar case.
But you ain't got to be Tom Cruise, but you met me.
Right,
so let's take care of this now.
Exactly, man. Exactly.
Yeah. So I'm, like right now, my thing is, I'm looking at a bunch of different festivals, because in Brooklyn itself, they have a lot of street festivals all the time. Mm-hmm. There's a bunch of Queens, and there's, other places that I'm going to be a part of. So, you'll be seeing me, you'll be seeing the pictures and the videos and stuff like that. And it's just me meeting people that I would have never probably had met, that probably didn't know about me, that hopefully now they know.
We are in the middle of another good one. I want to pause real quick to tell you about ChevalierLife.com. Chevalier Life is a veteran-owned brand dedicated to cigar enthusiasts who appreciate quality and individuality. From custom full-color humidors that showcase your personal flair to sleek accessories, they've got everything you need to elevate your cigar experience. But it's more than just products. It's a cultural vibe. Whether you're sipping whiskey or enjoying a smooth vibe, Chevalier Life complements your cigar lifestyle. Visit ChevalierLife.com today and live your best cigar life. Right. Yeah, man, and that's a great idea to have that sitting right there, so you can go ahead and order instead of, oh yeah, I'll take care of it when I get. No. I got you right here. I got you. Go to take care of it. So, we all and start entrepreneurs all go through ups and downs. Was there ever a time that you were like, man, I don't know if this is working? You wanted to quit?
No. The best thing is, like I said, I've gone, the last big time that it was rough was this past September. Mm-hmm. From September to December, it was very slow, which is shocking. This is the first year that, the holidays, I wasn't getting any sales. I would get like one or two. I think September I got one. October I got none. November I got maybe 3 or 4. December I got 2. But I always say, I like what I do. You know what I mean? Like, this is not, I don't consider it a job. I consider it something interesting that I love. So, and there's enough cigar lounges in the New York area that I can go to, that I go to, where somebody would have seen me, or maybe they didn't see me, but now they're like, oh, okay. So it's always a possibility. I always look at anytime I go out, I go out with the goal of making a sale, or if I don't, meet somebody new. And, I get to, meet great people that I would have never met otherwise. Yeah, man, that networking can also turn into sales for future, because you meet new people and you network, and then they tell somebody, and then they tell somebody, and then they tell somebody. They say if you love what you do, you never work a day in your life. So that's something that a lot of people have to get to. A lot of people got to get to that point. It's not just a cliche; it's the reality.
Exactly. Exactly. So let's say we dropped your teenage self into this interview right now. What would he say about SARELIX and the path that you've taken?
The teenage. Woo.
How far you got to think back?
I would say, anything I've always been in since I was a kid. Like, initially when I was younger, I wanted to be a firefighter.
Mm-hmm.
And at the time, I think my first real passion, I was always a wrestling fan. You know what I mean? Bob Backlund, Hulk Hogan, all that stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
And when we had moved from Brooklyn to Long Island, which is out in the suburbs, and my school had a wrestling team,
Mm-hmm.
and I became obsessed with it. Like I'm talking like, if anybody wrestles on here that knows, I was getting up, I was jumping rope in the basement, had the shower on to lose weight. I'm measuring my food. My mom's had like this scale, you know what I'm saying? I would put like 2 things of tuna, you know what I mean, and some grapes. I mean, literally, and I was just obsessed. And I've always had my when it's something that I'm passionate about, from a child to now, I go all out.
Mm-hmm.
And this is one of the things that I'm hoping, ultimately, if I could retire on it or make it my primary or maybe secondary, primary form of income, or just something that I enjoy, dude. Because, if I had the opportunity to quit my main job and do this full time, I'd be in heaven. And just my teenage self would say, I trust the older me. I trust the OG me.
Yeah, yeah. I like that answer. I like that answer.
What about
That
yourself?
means
I mean, you
oh
have a successful. What was? I'm sure your path. You had the ups and downs, and here and there. Like, what's your situation? Like, what would you say to your younger self?
man, younger Ray would tell me younger Ray would be proud of the man that I am today. He would be proud of the way that I'm leaning into all of my gifts and things. And I would tell him it's gonna work out.
Yeah,
It's gonna work out. You know, all of the struggles and the thoughts and all of those things. It's gonna work out, man.
yeah.
Um, I'd probably tell him go ahead and graduate college though,
Wow.
because
Yeah.
I was going for architecture, so
Okay.
I'd have told him go ahead and do that. So then, because I like to draw, I do art here and there. So I would definitely probably tell him to do that. But I think outside of that, younger Ray would be proud of who I am today. I do think so.
So for you, like, say for the podcast business, it seems like everybody and their moms got a podcast. Speaking of podcasts, me, myself, and 3 of my boys, we have a company, the 53rd State Cigar Republic.
Okay.
It's on Instagram. I'm not sure if you've seen it. We're
Yeah. I follow him. I follow him.
okay. Yeah. We're working toward our own podcast. Like, do you have any advice for me? Because, I see everybody and their moms trying to do it, and I'm sure not everybody is successful, but you've built a brand that is like undeniable. I'm more than sure you get your levels of I don't want to say hate, because I hate that word, because my feeling is you can't really hate somebody if there's nothing invested.
Right.
There's got to be a large level of envy towards you that I'm sure either you've witnessed directly or been told directly. Like, how do you deal with it?
I've got a few things from people, both for this show and the other show that I do with Chevalier, the Lounge. Um, it's I really don't care. Somebody says, "Oh, you doing a podcast? You doing a show? Everybody's got okay." So let me do mine. you know, and the thing that I would say is if you are starting one, just do it. Don't
Yeah,
worry about getting the big guests. Don't worry about how many people are watching and all of this stuff because it'll come. You
yeah,
know, um, we see celebrities getting into the podcast and talk show world, and the difference between like me and them is only the people that they know. You know what I'm saying? So they can
yeah.
go ahead and they can just up and build a $1 million studio with all of the cameras and have the crew and have all of the things and then get all of the big guests on there. Everybody wants to hear what all of these people are saying. But for me, it's not about that at all. I don't aspire to talk to celebrities
Yeah.
because the whole purpose and premise of this show is for entrepreneurs to help entrepreneurs.
Yes.
That's the whole purpose. You know, people who have been in business for a couple of years, 5 years, who can give something to people who are thinking about starting a business.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So as long as the content that's coming from this show and the information that's coming from this show helps one person, I'm happy with it. I'm happy with it. Because it ain't about me at all. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? This show ain't about me at all. It's about everybody sitting over there. You know what I'm saying? It's about everybody that I'm talking to. It's about everybody that's watching, you know, um, trying to build a community of people to help people. You know what I'm saying? Because that's what it's all about to me.
Let me just say, man, again, you're doing an amazing job, man, and I truly, truly appreciate what you've done. And if anybody doesn't appreciate it, man, they've lost their minds, or they just mad that they can't do it, and
Man, I
that's real,
appreciate that, man.
seriously. So I would also say that I'm sorry, I'm just trying to move. I gotta charge the phone, for a second. There we go.
Oh yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
I would say that what you have is undeniable, and I'm of the mindset if you could do better, do better. Otherwise, don't be a a quarterback. I mean,
Yeah, you're breaking up a little bit.
that's my goal. I said, if you feel like you could do better, then do better. If you can't, then just sit and enjoy. You know what I mean?
Exactly, exactly, exactly. Sit and enjoy, sit back and watch, share, whatever you got to do. You know. Um,
Yes.
so it's game time. It's game time. I'm gonna throw some quick questions your way. Don't think
Yes,
too
sir.
long. Just answer. First thing that comes to mind. You
Yeah.
ready? All right. Start off easy. Straight cut or V cut?
Straight.
Okay. Okay. Cigar lounge or front porch?
Both.
Good
Okay.
answer. Good answer.
Cigar lounge. Cigar lounge. Winter, spring, and fall. Scoop. Summertime.
Yeah, because you in New York and it gets a little cold up there. Get a little chilly.
So let me explain. Right. It was one time. It was during the winter time. I think it was like December. It was like 40
Mm-hmm.
degrees, and I was like fiending for a cigar. And I was like, because I had been working, I wasn't able to get a smoke in for like 3 days. And I said, you know what? Let me throw on my sweats. Let me throw on my jacket. I think it was like 45 degrees outside. I sat on the lounge. I'm like this.
Fingers frozen.
10 minutes later, man, I threw away that cigar. I went right back inside. I said, okay. I said, I will not admit to being a fiend. Let me
Right. Right.
let me get my behind back in this and I'll smoke.
Oh man, that's yeah. Them fingers start locking up, and you can't enjoy that cigar like that.
No.
All right, so the next one. One word that describes SARELIX.
Quality.
like that. I like that. What's all in your cigar bag, no matter what?
Say it again.
What's always in your cigar bag, no matter what?
Cigars.
Of course, got to be. Favorite time of
I
day
have,
to light up?
Ooh, at night. Well, now that it's warm, it's funny because just this morning I got up at like 2:30 in the morning. I sat on my stoop. It was like 3 o'clock. I got everything. I went to the Ock, the corner store. Got me a coffee, black, because that's the only real way to drink coffee. Just let y'all know, people. Black coffee. Anything else is sugar beans. Anyway, I just sat on the stoop 3 o'clock in the morning, watched the train go by, and just enjoyed the light and went right back to bed.
Wow. And went right back to bed. Okay. I like that. I like that. What's the last song you played while smoking? Oh, yeah. Well, you got to take a shower before you get into bed. You got to.
I was too tired, man. I was like, listen. No, I said, I wash the sheets. Don't worry about it. I got the sheets. I'll wash the sheets in the morning.
I'll take care of that. I'll take care of that. What's the last song you played while smoking?
Oh, just this morning. X gonna give it to you.
That's a good one. That's a good one. You ready for the day?
Oh wait, no. Let me rephrase that. I'm sorry. Well, when I was here, I smoked up before I got here. They had on "Don't You Want Me." Remember that song? Don't you want me? You know, yeah, right
there. Most slept on cigar accessory.
Say it again.
Most slept on cigar accessory.
Pokers.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of people don't use pokers, man. I keep one. You want to get that thing all the way down to the shoulder, man. You got to have one.
A dear friend of mine, Marsha, cigar dream pokers, dream cigar pokers. She's on Instagram. She sells the most amazing cigar pokers. You know, check her out if you can, guys, ladies. She's amazing.
I'm gonna check her out. One word people misuse when describing cigars. Let me rephrase that question because I want to ask. I wrote that one, but I want to ask it different. One word people overuse when describing cigars.
Great.
My word would be smooth.
Because I think sometimes people, it's all taste, right? I'm a full body guy.
Yeah, me too.
The light ones, the mediums, I go through those like Skittles.
Yeah.
A nice full body, I say to people, should take you a half hour minimum. A good cigar should take you about a half hour. When it's light, I'm puffing. I'm boom, boom, boom,
you get it burns so quick.
Yeah. You don't enjoy it like you want to enjoy a cigar. You take 2 puffs, chill, you talk, blah blah blah. You know what I mean? So I think sometimes people don't know the difference between a great cigar, a good cigar, and a bad cigar. And that's, I think, depending on the amount of time you've done it, if you've smoked even somewhat consistently for a year or so, you should kind of have an idea. Don't smoke the same thing. And I know a lot of people, they start out with the flavor, with the Betty's, which is not a bad thing. But move up. Enjoy a Plasencia. Enjoy a My Father, a La Aroma de Cuba. For me, my favorite all time is a Jaime Garcia.
Oh, great cigars. Great cigars.
I'm stuck on an island.
I thank you for saying Jaime and not Jamie.
Man, listen. And please don't tell me that you only smoke Cubans. That's when you gotta go. Because I
can't stand those people. I only smoke Cohibas. Those are the guys who I can't stand. You only smoke them when you get them off the cruise.
Yeah, to be honest, I'm not a fan. No disrespect to Cohibas, I'm not the greatest fan of it, but to each their own. For me, it's not my cup of tea. But they do make quality. They've been around, so I can't argue. You know what I mean? Just
Yeah,
not my cup of tea.
the actual cohibas make quality. Now you go to Mexico and you getting the ones off the cruise, or the guys trying to sell them to you when you get in the port. Them ain't
Yeah.
real. So
Okay. Yes.
my
And stay
one
away from those
word,
gas. And stay away from the gas station cigars.
Oh yeah, stay away from them. Stay away from them. They ain't taking care of them things. My one word would be smooth. When people are describing a cigar and the first thing they say is, "Oh, it's smooth," I'm like, move on. What else
Stop
is
it.
it?
Yeah, stop.
What else?
Exactly.
So, last question. If you could smoke a cigar with anyone, living or not, who would it be and what are you talking about?
Ooh. Patrick Ewing,
Ooh.
because he's the reason I had a love of basketball. I was I'm not the tallest dude, so for me it was wrestling, but he was the reason that I became a lover of basketball.
Mm-hmm.
From the business world, I would have to go. I guess Warren Buffett.
Good one. Good one. Good one. For me, it changes. It changes on a probably a daily basis. But I would probably right now, my answer would be Carmelo Anthony, because I'm watching how
Okay.
he moves in the business world, and I want to talk to him about that. That's what we
Yeah.
talk about. We talk about that. So I think that's what that would be this time.
There's no wrong answers, brother, because you can learn. I've learned, like I travel a lot, and I got to meet some amazing people at cigar lounges. I was
Mm-hmm.
a few years ago. I was in Toledo. I went to look at some properties, and I met this guy, and we were just sitting down talking. Middle Eastern guy, and he told me he owns a bunch of retail stores and gas stations.
Hmm.
And I was like, how did you do it? And he was like, I came to this country with nothing, my family, and that's the people you want to talk to.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I'm nothing against, say like athletes or people that got their start from somewhere else, like somebody that got it from scratch. And that
Yeah.
is as scratch as you can get. How did you do that? And come to find
Exactly.
out, he owned the cigar lounge that I was at.
Oh wow.
And he didn't say nothing until the end. And I was like, word? And I think what it was is when I got there, like I do any place I travel, like like most of the time I have family in Georgia. So when I'm in
Mm-hmm.
Georgia, like they know who I am, you know, they let even if I've been there 20 times, I put my stuff down, what's up, how you doing? I go straight to the humidor. Get my cigars, I put them down, we talking. And
Right.
you just gotta, it's just the common respect that you have to have. And I know this is the off thing, but we got to support black businesses because let's say, even if they're a little more, even if they're a little more than say the traditional cigar lounges, the
Mm-hmm.
non-black cigar lounges, if they uptick it a few dollars, don't complain, man, because you're gonna complain more if they're not around, and you need a place to go. So support, especially like yourself. I for the trillionth time, man, I wish you nothing but the greatest success, man. And like I said, man, what you've accomplished is undeniable, cannot be argued, and I truly appreciate you being an outlet, a platform for anybody in this cigar culture.
I appreciate that, man. I appreciate that. Um, man, where do you envision SARELIX in the next 5 years?
In the next 5 years, I want to be, I would love to expand. I would love to, um, possibly be in other cigar lounges. I'm talking with, I've had discussions with, some representatives of, certain cigar companies, and just some preliminary. Uh, there's a few that it just wasn't more or less a good fit. I don't think maybe they didn't find me as I was more or less as established as they would want me to be, and I can respect that.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah.
people know who I am, and I've gotten to where I'm at, where I've had to be able to even talk with these people. I feel like is a testament to my drive, my desire to want to do better. And when that time comes, if that time comes, it comes. If it doesn't, then it wasn't meant to be. But I feel like
Right.
within the next 5 years, I would love to be doing this full time. I would love to be more of a more of a bigger brand, not where I'm untouchable or you can't. I would never be in that position because I know where I came from, and
Yeah.
I'm one there. I don't feel like I'm any better than anybody. I come from humble beginnings, just like a lot of people like me. So I know I have that. I have that humility that I'm willing to talk to anybody. And part of that is I talk to other companies. I talk to other people that sell cigar accessories. I have no
Mm-hmm.
problem with it, and I feel like for us, we need to be more open with each other because I feel like there's more than enough customers for all of us to eat.
Oh, most definitely, most definitely. It's so many people that smoke cigars in the world, and there's so many cigar brands, and there's enough for everybody to eat, man. That's enough for everybody to eat.
Yeah, I was talking to just the other day. I was talking to these people from Detroit, and they're building their own cigar company, cigar accessories company. And I said to them, I said, listen, establish where you're at first, because trying to go nationwide when you got your own, because if your people don't support you in your own hometown, how you gonna expect? Like you got to get love where you're at first. And
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
like to thank everybody in Brooklyn, Harlem, Queens, Staten, the Bronx that know of me, that have purchased from me, like when I go to cigar lounges anywhere, like here in Davidoff's or at Brooklyn Blue Smoke in Brooklyn, Crown Cigar Lounge in Brooklyn, Bogarts in Yonkers, New Jack City in the Bronx. They all show me love. Uh, Harlem, Harlem Sanctuary in Harlem. They all give me love.
Man, I seen pictures of that place. I got to get there.
Yo, Harlem Sanctuary. Hey, listen, all these places that I'm telling you, you come to New York, let me know. I got you. You ain't spending a dime on cigars, man. I got you, B. All these places, man, show me love. A lot of their patrons have my stuff. You gotta establish where you at first, because you can't be like, yo, I'm big in Utah, and nobody in your own hometown knows you.
Right.
That's putting the cart before the horse.
Exactly. Exactly.
So just support, just do what you gotta do. Um, Build your brand. Your brand is where you're at. And they understood. I said, listen, you're like I said, you're Detroit. I said, you're an hour away from Toledo. Know who you are. Get your thing right there. Go to Toledo. Go to Wisconsin. Whatever. Get your thing in, but make sure you establish where you're at, and everything will flow.
Most definitely, man. You got to establish where you at. You got to establish where you at. What legacy do you hope that SARELIX leaves in the cigar community?
I want to be able to say that I want to be able to leave a legacy that says you can, as a person of color, build a successful business that sustains over time. That when people talk about you, when they bring you up, when you come up in conversation, that it's nothing but great things.
Yeah.
You're not always, like I said, you're not everybody's cup of tea. But if the most part, if at the minimum they could say that was a good dude, or that is a reputable company, I totally recommend them. I did my job.
Most definitely, man. Most definitely. Fred, I appreciate you, man. This was a great conversation.
Hey, thank you, man. Thank you again. And everybody out there, listen, you know where I'm at. I'm on Instagram, SARELIX, cigar cases. Hit me up. I appreciate it. And make sure you support this man right here. Make sure you support this man because, listen, again, we need as many platforms as we can.
Most definitely, man. Most definitely, man. I appreciate you, man. Thank you again.
Thank you. I appreciate you, brother. I appreciate you. Like I said, you come down, you come to New York, you let me know. I got you. Trust me, you good. You good.
I'm gonna definitely make a trip out there. You're gonna be the first number I call.
Yes, indeed, brother. Thank you again.
Thank you, man. Thank you. Man, a bunch of gems is dropped in this one. That's another deep one here at the Herfador Lounge, where the smoke is rich and the conversation runs deep. Big shout out to Frederick Brown for coming through and sharing not only the story behind SARELIX, but the mindset, the hustle, and the heart that keeps it moving. If you're serious about leveling up your cigar experience, tap in with SARELIX. Hit the site, thesarelixstore.com, and follow them on Instagram, SARELIX Cigar Cases. And if you felt this conversation, do me a favor. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and drop a comment below with your favorite gem from today's talk. We got more fire coming, so stay locked in. Until the next time, stay lit, stay inspired, keep building.